Well, let's see what's shaking bacon tonight, whatever day this is. Okay, it's Wednesday, September 7th. Hello and welcome to my channel. Thank you for the recent upsurge or uptick in people watching videos. It's almost like whatever algorithm in the ethers that I spoke of in the last video is somehow reconciling itself. I can't think of another term for it or a better term for it. All I know is there's been some algorithmic pushback on this channel, and I'm not sure why, because this is a really small channel. But anyway, hello, and how is everybody doing? I was just going to say I forgot to turn my comments off, and I usually do that so I don't get distracted, and it erases them anyway. As you guys know, if you hop on here before this platform turns me over to private, you will still be able to watch. Otherwise, you'll have to wait till it processes and I redo it as usual. You could share, like, and subscribe to my channel. That would help. And one day very soon, I'll actually be able to go live and I will technically be allowed to go live, and that'll be awesome. In the meantime, I'm going to give a few people a chance to get on here, and I don't like to have a lull for the people who don't watch live, because I realize that you guys have about 3 minutes before it switches from public to private to jump on in here. Otherwise, no one can get in after that point until it processes and I put it back up. The energy is very incredible, as you know, and it's causing some very strange things to happen. Now, I will tell you, my awareness is pretty big when I leave the house always. I am up by probably 5 o'clock, 5:30 every morning. I start with yoga outside by the garbage cans. I know, very therapeutic, right? With my coffee and yoga by the garbage can. So, and then I move into Qigong, and then I move into walking. So I have my guard up, but not my guard up, but my awareness is very high. I'm very conscientious about the people and the situations and the energy around me at all times. That being said, I have been caught off my guard a couple times in the last couple days. The only thing I can think is that it is a vibratory difference, because when I walk through Northside, I have to be really careful, especially when crossing the street, because most people walking and most people in cars do not see me. It's been a real issue for me. So I've been feeling very unseen for a very long time, and I try to wear bright colors and stuff, and I walk when it's, even if it's 100. So you think somebody in short shorts and a tank top would catch attention, but people literally do not see me. So it's been a challenge. I've talked about that with you guys before, but this week has been really interesting. It's about an 8-mile loop that I do every morning, and I never see anyone else out while I'm walking. I don't see people at their houses or in their yards or grilling out or playing with their kids or riding their bikes. I just don't see people anywhere. So last week I was doing my walking meditation. I was probably about 3 miles from the house when a man stopped me and said, "Good morning. I see that you have shoes on." And I thought, this guy is just a real comedian, I guess. Of course I have shoes on, I'm walking. And I just kind of stood there and looked at him. And then he said, "You usually don't wear shoes." Well, this guy was like 6'2", 6'3", and kind of unforgettable. If I had seen the man before, trust me, I would have remembered. I've never seen him. I've never spoken to him in my life. And so Spirit is saying, even when you think that you're not seen, you are seen. And he just kind of looked at me and he said, "Oh yeah, I see you walking all the time." with no shoes on. I walk with my eyes closed a lot, to be honest. But when there are people near me, I feel it immediately and open my eyes. So after standing there awkwardly staring at this man for a few minutes, he said, "Oh yeah, I see you walking all the time without your shoes, and it's a really good thing to stay grounded." So the message here is, even when you think no one's hearing you, and even when you think no one's seeing you, they are. Next day, same 8 mile loop, same exact spot. I meet another person, and she starts talking to me, and she's in her 70s, and she says, "I see you walking all the time, and I don't want to disturb you. I know you like to walk fast, and I'm an old lady. But I put my meditation on pause, and I ended up talking to her, and I ended up walking with her for a little over 2 miles. And when I got to the main drag, she turned around and said, "This is where I go back." And she said, "By the way, my name is Penny. It's nice to meet you, Tina." And I said, "Penny, that's interesting. I found a penny on my walk every day for 3 days in a row." Now, I didn't realize that I walked past this lady's house every morning and sometimes twice a day. But again, even when you don't see people or think you're not being heard or not being seen, it's a message that you are. So several days in a row, we end up walking together to this hill. And it's interesting, like I said, I've been almost in this building in November 11/11. I've been in this building for 2 years. Never met anyone on a walk and never talked to anyone on a walk. And then 3 or 4 days in a row, I'm walking with complete strangers. Now, when I got to the main drag, she said it's time for me to turn around and go. And she was looking at my smile rather perplexedly, because I was grinning ear to ear, knowing there are certain people that are walking me to the main drag, to the main hub, or to the main event. And when we get there, I will be going a different direction than some other people. And Spirit was just making that clear, right? That there are people that will walk you to the main event, and then they may go a different way than you. That was abundantly clear. What I want to talk about is the craziness of everything that's going on. I've been filling in a little bit of personal stories here and there lately, just because the way the energy is, people seem to be vibrating in one extreme direction or another. So today, I was at my friend's house, and she sent me down to the store to pick up a gallon of paint that she ordered. There wasn't really hardly anything going on in the hardware store itself, but the paint guy looked stressed beyond a flower shop worker on Valentine's Day. And maybe somebody out there can empathize with that other than myself, because I did that for 25 years. So the guy in the paint department was extremely stressed out, to the point that he forgot to even give me a stick with the $74 gallon of paint. But the thing was, he was already stressed, and everybody in the store that was there to buy paint wanted to talk to me, wanted to show me their paint colors, wanted to talk about the weather, all of it. So I was almost kind of adding to his stress. Now, if you look at that in a symbolic way, and I'll let you look at that in whatever way you want. But that tells me, when it comes to being ready to pick up your order, there are going to be distractions. At the last second, there are going to be distractions. And I mean distractions. Now, I know if you watched my last video, I had some weird occurrences happening the other day, but this was beyond bizarre. So I walk up to the paint counter just to pick up the paint, right? give them the last name. And this lady starts talking to me, but she starts talking to me like mid-sentence. So I'm thinking, did I miss something here? Like, she jumped into it mid-sentence and started talking about living in the area and what she liked and what she didn't like, and talking about paint. She must have talked for 10 minutes before I said one word to her. And then she looked at my shorts and said, I really, really like your shorts. Where did you get those? And I said, I got them I got the shorts out of the Goodwill pile that my brother had for his 2 teenage daughters who were getting rid of them, and I tried them on. And she said, what? And I said, my brother had a bag for the Goodwill. That's where the shorts came from. She thought I bought them in a store. And I'm like, no, I got them from a bag that was going to the Goodwill. And she said, do you mind turning around so I can see your backside? And I said, excuse me? This was so bizarre. And I turned around anyway. So to show her my backside, I had no idea what was going on. She stuck her hands in my pants so that she could get the label and turn it inside out. Now, I told her that these kids have had these shorts for years, that she's not going to go find them in whatever store, no matter what the name brand is. But when I turned around, she put her hands in my pants to read the label on my pants. And you better believe that I was shocked. So I never, ever know what to expect when I go out the door anymore. The last 3 days have been incredibly strange when dealing with other people. I'm saying these things because I like to describe to you the weirdness that is my world, because I know that your world is just as weird in the same kind of weird ways that mine is. I wanted to give a few people a second to get on here before I started talking about what I actually came here to talk about. So sometime in June, I was at a friend's house, and she was talking about some information that she heard on back channels about the financial system. And I told her that I had been hearing on back channels about this financial reevaluation for a decade, and I was kind of over it. But I started channeling information to her, and she said, okay, let's just pull some tarot cards on it. So she sent me down to the store. I bought some tarot cards, and I started doing a reading. Now, most of you guys have watched that reading. So the significant thing in that reading to me at this moment is when I got several sevens in a row, my 3D thinking of linear time and space went to July, which is the 7th month. I then later realized through another number 7 synchronicity that Libra is the 7th sign in the zodiac, which I did not know. I did not know Scorpio was the 8th sign. I'm a Scorpio. And you think this is neither here nor there. But the second I realized that Libra was the 7th sign in the zodiac, my mind went straight back to the reading I had done 4 months prior. And I thought, I wonder if the Chariot card showing up, the number 7, the overcoming obstacles and moving forward, had anything to do with the time of Libra season. So I think that's like September 20th to October 21st, somewhere in there. So I wondered if the financial reevaluation that I saw as July, because the linear time and space month of July is 7. And then when I asked that question, I got another 7 card. So I assumed that that was right. Now, tarot, when doing tarot, the absolute hardest thing to narrow down is a time frame. Just like when you're actually psychic or clairvoyant or anything else and these messages come to you, you often do not know what time frame you're seeing, because this could have been yesterday, this could be tomorrow, this could be 6 months from now. But again, I was pulling on, in my 3D linear space and time magnetic memory, that 7 was going to be July. So again, a realization that we may be talking about Libra season, which I'm pretty sure is September 20th to October 21st or 22nd, sometime close in that time frame. So I'm wondering if we're looking at that now. And this is not something I'm a fan of looking at just because I woke up to this portion of the awakening in the 80s, in the late 80s. So I kind of gave up following it, and any kind of geopolitics or anything like that. I stopped watching after the 2020 election for obvious reasons on multiple fronts. So there's some weird things happening within the financial system that I want to talk about. These are not things from back channels. These are not things that I've read about on social media or watched videos about. This is all what has happened to me and just a couple people that I know just in the last 7 days. So I had an issue with my debit card and I had to go to the bank and get a new I had to get a new debit card. I had my new debit card for 6 days when I got an alert from PNC saying that there's suspicious activity on your account. And I'm thinking, I'm the least suspicious spender in the world, okay? I don't have checks. I don't have credit cards. I have a bank account and one debit card. It's really, really simple. So when I got this fraud alert, they actually sent it to me through email, so I didn't even see it till Sunday. And I went in there, I called them on Monday, and the first thing they said to me was, well, the reason we got a hold of you is because you ordered something online for $39. No big deal. Who gets alerted to fraud for $39? Well, I do, and I'll tell you why. The only thing I've ever bought online in my entire life is something from Tractor Supply. Okay, so that's it. So just because I ordered something online, my account got flagged. Thank God it stopped there. They ordered one thing for $39. So I had to go in and get a new debit card. In the interim, I talked to a friend whose bank account got hacked as well. When I went to her house, she was talking about some clothing that she ordered online. And I said, well, I just got that same shirt, that identical shirt at Walmart. And by synchronicity, that happened to come out of my mouth. She went to walmart.com looking for the shirt to see if it was the same shirt that she had bought from another place. When she did, she found out that there was a $39 charge on her account that didn't belong to her. And then when she went in there, there was $400 or $500 or $600, hundreds of dollars charged to her account also. Now, my friend in Colorado, and keep in mind, I don't talk to that many people, and this has all been in the last 6 or 7 days. So I talked to my girlfriend in Colorado. Her bank account was hacked, and they took a lot of money and transferred it from Chase Bank over to PNC Bank. All of these things revolved around or included PNC Bank. So I went in there to get a new debit card, but before I did, I went to the teller and I asked to cash a check and get a roll of quarters. Now, if you don't know me already and you don't know what a triple Scorpio personality is like, a whole lot of stuff came out of my mouth at the teller line just to see what the reaction was going to be from the teller. So I said, yes, apparently someone put a $39 credit on my account and I got alerted from the fraud department because they know I don't shop online. And he's like, oh, I'm really sorry to hear that. I'm sorry that that happened to you, right? Normal. That's exactly how I expected him to respond. Wait for it. And then I said to him, well, this is weird. Not only is my account, who's going to hack my account for $39? Why would anybody hack anybody's account for $39? That's small potatoes. And I have other friends that have had their accounts hacked as well. And they're also with PNC. And I said, you know, this almost feels like to me that PNC itself has been hacked or compromised. Not my bank account. I feel like PNC has been compromised. Now, I was about 2 feet from his face when I said this to him. He didn't even blink, you guys. And I'm not saying, you know, obviously someone who's a teller at the bank is not going to have information that they're trying to keep out of the public anyway. But he was a young guy. He's very intelligent. I've been speaking to this guy for the last couple years. I know his mannerisms very well. And when I told him, I feel like it's your system that's been compromised, it's PNC Bank altogether that's been compromised, he said that could be possible, and he didn't even blink. My girlfriend in Colorado went back to PNC Bank because they had told her something really strange a couple days prior, that she could not access her account online. Now, for whatever reason, she was being very personable with this teller, and the teller was being extremely personable with her. And the teller proceeded to tell her, that's funny, I didn't mean that. The teller told her that they took their system down for 7 days. Now, her words were, they took their system down. Now, the reason I had to go get a new debit card after someone used it was because if there was a second charge and I didn't change debit cards, that meant I was responsible and not the bank. So think about that. Why would the bank take down its own website? They're not taking it down to keep me from looking at my online bank statement. That's a no-brainer, right? Or at least if you have the detective personality, I think that's a real no-brainer. They took their banking system down to keep, I believe, anything shifting or leaving, algorithmically leaving their system, or being, you'll have to forgive me, I can tell you what I see happening, but my banking is very limited and very minimal. All I know is I could see that PNC itself had a breach or a hack, and it was affecting PNC customers. Why else would PNC take down their own website for 7 days? That would be you know how many people bank online. Every person that banks online now has to call and deal with a customer representative. They must have been losing their absolute ever-loving mind, not to mention they don't have the staff to deal with it. I can guarantee you that. The only reason they would have done this would have been for a security breach, or they were trying to reset their system. That's what it looks like to me. They were trying to reset their system so that however it was breached to begin with, it could not be breached again. The other interesting thing here to note is on December 21st, 2017, an executive order was passed, and the skinny of it, or the root of it, is this: anybody caught in crimes against humanity automatically can have their accounts frozen and their assets seized. So the important thing about this is, prior, if I'm engaged in a ring of criminal activity, okay, let's say I get busted, I sit around, wait 5 years, go to court, pay my bail, all this stuff. Nothing happens to me immediately, and nothing happens to me initially. I sit around and wait for my time, and then I just get off by paying a fine. That's how this has worked for a really long time. The reason I'm mentioning this is because the Vatican is now recalling certain financial aspects or gold aspects or commodities back, excuse me, back to the Vatican right now. Why would they be doing that? Let me go back to the executive order. So I'm a criminal who's broken the law, who's committed a crime against humanity. And even if I'm in the United States and I have an electronic tie through bank, through email, through cell phone, doesn't matter. This executive order said if there is a crime against humanity and an electronic tie, that place, that state, that person, whether that's Rome, whether that's Paris, whether that's Uruguay, it does not matter. If there's an electronic connection and there's a crime against humanity, those funds will be instantly seized. So why would the Vatican be recalling money or gold or commodities back to the Vatican? I very strongly feel and have seen for the last 2 years that the reevaluation of currency, property, distribution of assets is directly connected to the Vatican in the way that the Vatican has more property, more assets. In an outward way, even the stuff that they're on paper that they have, forget about that, okay? They also have, probably most of you know this, they have paintings, they have artifacts from off planet, they have off planet technology, they have all kinds of everything. So if you were going to do a reevaluation out of one physical location and you're smart, you would do it out of the Vatican because they have assessed more property, more assets than anybody else. Now, the reason I'm talking about crimes against humanity and the executive order from December 21st, 2017 is this. There was a person somewhere in Europe, I believe it was in Rome or somewhere in Italy, a girl that had been missing for 15 years. And for 15 years, the search for this woman never stopped. And you'll have to forgive me, it was approximately a year and a half ago. Yeah, that's as close as I can get to it. But approximately a year and a half ago, there was an anonymous tip in Europe to the police department saying that someone knew the whereabouts of this missing 15-year-old from Italy. Now, I don't know how much of this was a setup. The whole thing was a setup. There's no doubt about that. The question is, was that missing 15-year-old girl part of this, or was that just part of the plan to make this happen? So, executive order from December 21st, 2017 ties crimes against humanity electronically to any person that breaks those certain set of what they deem a crime against humanity. Someone called the Vatican 15 years after this girl has been missing, or someone called the police department and said, I know where she is. She's buried on Vatican property. Okay. This actually came out in the news. Now, the part that came out in the news is that there was a hotline tip to the police department in Europe saying that this girl was buried on Vatican property. They did investigate. Now, what they didn't say was whether or not they ever found this particular missing 15-year-old. What they did show was really, really strange. The picture on the article was a big hole, like 25 feet wide and probably 8 or 9 feet deep. And there was a bunch of people standing in that hole surrounded by children's bones. Now, I'm not trying to be morbid, nor do I ever discuss this kind of stuff. The point is, with that executive order tying electronically to crimes against humanity, with that person calling in that connection to that missing girl. Well, a missing girl is not thousands and thousands of bones. Thousands and thousands of bones is crimes against humanity. You know what that ties to? That ties to the P rings, meaning, I believe at the time this happened, now because it's a slow drip, drip, drop of information and we don't really know when anything's happening, this could have happened 3 years ago and they could have said it a year and a half ago. It could have happened 6 months after they said it happened. We don't know, but I very much feel that the main root part of this story, maybe not all the details, is actually accurate, and that gives them a legal tie to crimes against humanity, meaning the Vatican's funds have all been seized a year and a half ago. Again, it could be 6 months, it could be 2 years, but the reason this is so important, in case you don't know, the Vatican has more land, more power, more assets, more ancient artifacts, more paintings, more. All the books that they said were burned in Russia and in the Library of Alexandria, they're in the Vatican, you guys. The Vatican is the storehouse on the planet. So Again, the reason for recalling the gold or any financial acquisition back there would be because, and you got to know, I don't get into this. Oh, we're going to announce the 800 numbers tonight at midnight. That's been going on for 10 years. That's like telling a kid every Christmas forever they're going to get a unicorn, right? At some point, you stop saying it and being an ass to your children, or the kid now believes that their parents are a liar. So I don't mean that, but I mean there is going to be a real reevaluation of currency. I believe it's coming out of the Vatican. When those funds are seized, again, that executive order says we don't wait till the criminal goes to jail and 5 years from now or 10 years from now and let them pay a $10 million fine. What's a $10 million fine to them? Nothing. Bank accounts frozen, all of it. That means everything the Vatican has is frozen. Now, I'm mentioning that because I've talked about seeing the Vatican burn in a symbolic way. I think 2 years ago, I wrote about that. I talked about this again a couple of months ago. Now, the reason for me tying this together today is all the weird crap that's gone on with me and a couple of my friends at PNC Bank just within the last 7 days. Really had me thinking about this financial reevaluation. It really had me thinking about the video that I did, I believe it was like April or May of last year, talking about the reevaluation happening in the 7th month. Again, I looked at the 7th month like that was July, not Libra season. Again, so we could be looking at a currency reevaluation, Libra season. So we're talking September, I think 21st, 22nd to October 22nd, sometime in there. So I thought that was interesting. Now, when I went over to my friend's house today to paint, the first thing she said to me was, I heard through a back channel, and she tells me the back channel stuff comes. She knows that I gave up after the election. I don't follow it anymore. But she told me on a back channel within the last 2 days, she heard that the Vatican was recalling assets. And that just makes so much incredible sense with what I've been talking about, writing about, and making videos about for the last couple years. So something is going on with the financial system. There is no doubt about it. And we've been expecting it for a long time. The Basel 1, 2, and 3 compliance have been ready probably for a decade, if not longer. And those are the new banking laws and the new banking parameters for when this changeover happens. The thing is, this changeover will be quantum and it will be unhackable, but the system must be unhackable, untraceable, and whatever the other components they're waiting on have to happen first. And I know I did a video a couple of days ago talking about devil energy and also the tower, things happening really quickly, really unexpectedly, and really out of the blue. That is why today on my video, you'll see the license plate. When I was walking today, I had a thought about the financial system and saw the license plate that said JN 7474. Now, I didn't have to think about it in a split second. My mind said JN, Justice Near, as in Justice card, balanced scales of Libra. So Justice Near 7474. So even, balancing the scales of the judicial system when it comes to the quantum financial system. Now, the other interesting thing was on the license plate below where it said JN 7474, it said Empire State. When I read Empire State, the first thing that came to my mind was the Tower card in tarot, because it's a multi-storied building just like the Empire State. And I thought, oh wow, this is justice to the quantum financial system. And it's coming in tower fashion. If you're not familiar with the tower, that just means something losing its foundation in the third dimensional reality very quick, very unexpectedly, and very out of the blue. So I asked today I was on the phone with someone and just as usual for my life, feeling like all of this stuff with PNC and all of this hacking and all of this, them not being able to control their own bank, it could be either side. So I won't get into that. I pulled some cards. I'm not going to tell you what cards. I feel like that makes my videos very choppy. I'm going to tell you what I'm getting from this situation. So I asked, what is happening with the banking system? Pulling itself online, everybody I know having their account hacked. I feel like it's an inside job. I told the guy at the bank it was an inside job. He didn't even blink. So I asked, what is happening right now with our financial system? So the first thing I get is the devil card once again, but the devil card in this instance. So the first card out is the strongest. So the energy all over everything. I asked what's happening within the financial system. It is being restricted and it needs to be liberated. That's a no-brainer. We already know that. My question was, is this some little individual mom and pop criminal or some person on the street corner, or is this what we think it is? So I get restriction and the need for liberation, okay? The next thing I get is the card of the miser, the card of holding on to or holding back the system, as in we shut our own website down, even though I'm sure that was an astronomical pain in the butt for them to do so. And again, why would they do that? What are they holding back from us? And I don't think it's from us. And they're not trying to stop us, like I said, from online banking. I believe they're holding back and they are restricting the banking system because something has got into the banking system, and they are trying to control it. Now, just a couple of days ago, someone sent me a video from 2 days ago. I don't know where this person was. She had no accent, so I'll assume it's in America. She was standing at an ATM that accepted all credit and debit cards on this planet. And the video kept giving her an error and saying that there was no cash to be used at this time. Another thing that's happening is if you have a debit card, the banks are running it through as credit. Why would they be doing that? So there's got to be a hold on these banking funds, whether the bank has done it intentionally to keep some kind of new algorithm out, which is what I believe it is. I don't believe it is a black hat criminal operation. I actually believe that the banking system is being infiltrated by the party that wants liberation. But in order for the bank to not lose their money to that system, and I'm not sure to what extent they even realize what's happening. So the banking system needs to be liberated. The banking system is restricting itself. They are holding on to their money. They may not have money at this time. If I'm using a debit card and they're switching it over to a credit card, the company that I'm paying is not going to care one way or the other, right? But think about why they would do that. The only reason they would do that is if they didn't have, well, they would do that if I didn't have the money in my account to do that, but that's not the case. So what's the other reason? The other reason would be if they don't have the money in their system to cover me, which would also explain why this person 2 days ago made a live video at an ATM saying that she could not withdraw money from her account. So very interesting. Now, when I ask about the liberation, when I ask about the miser energy of the bank shutting down their system, trying to keep people out of their system and holding on to what possessions they have physically in their bank, I ask, what are they holding back from? What are they holding on to? What are they trying to stop? And I get the Ace of Wands. And Ace of Wands says, this is good. This person, place, or thing, in this case, mathematical banking algorithm, is going in a different direction. Aces are all about having a brand new start and going in a new direction. So we have an energy that needs to be liberated. We have the banking system itself shutting down their ATMs, changing their customers' debit transactions to credit transactions, and ATMs giving errors instead of giving cash, okay? That's a pretty big, those things are a pretty big deal. And again, when I ask why, Ace of Wands, all new beginnings, this is going in a different direction. The next thing I got was King of Swords. Now, King of Swords could be 20 different things, but my intuition is telling me right now that the new direction. So the King of Swords knows all, sees all, hears all, but he's not speaking, guys. The King of Swords doesn't speak. He's strategic, he's logistical, and he's a brainiac. He's probably an air sign for sure, right? Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. But they are holding back. This King of Swords knows the financial system is going in a new direction, and he's holding up the sword, counting up the BS. Also, the King of Swords is the second card other than Justice card, which talks about litigation. So restriction, holding back, shutting down their website, changing people's transactions from debit to credit because they don't have the money, not having the money in the system to give people money through an ATM. And they are trying to avoid going in a new direction, the litigation. And right now there's some kind of pause going on while they create. There's some implementation going on that has to be balanced in 4 parts. Now, I'm not going to say I know what those 4 parts are. All I know is, and somebody that's maybe better at tech or knows better about economics, maybe this makes sense to you, but there's some 4-part piece to this puzzle. So they're shutting it down and they're trying to figure out how they can stop this from happening. But here's the thing, you guys, they can't stop this from happening. So the last card is the 3 of Pentacles. Pentacles obviously is about money or things manifested in the 3rd dimension. So there is a rest or a pause. There's something here about litigation. And then there's the need to cooperate and build a new financial system together. Now, I have oracle cards, so I pulled an oracle card, and most of these oracle cards are about love and passion, and so very interesting. And interestingly, and I've had these cards for a couple days, and I've never even seen the card. Okay, I didn't buy the cards and look at them. I just use them. So the money card fell out, right? This is about us knowing our worth, and this is about us also knowing that this financial freedom, this financial reevaluation is coming, despite the fact that there has been an infiltration within this camp that tells you every night there's an 800 number that's going to be released, or this person knows, or that they would never ever do that every single night or even once a week if that was the truth. So you may want to stop listening to that, because it puts you on an emotional yo-yo about what's going on with the quantum financial system, okay? But I asked specifically, what is this attached to? So discovering the source of your own power is what money is about. Money is about putting energy out and taking energy in. That's what we do. We work, we spend. But on a higher level, know your worth, know the worth of every commodity on this planet. And the system will be reevaluated, okay? Probably not in the way that these back channels are saying. I ducked out of that many years ago, so I don't know what they're saying. But I can tell you how it's going to go. Whatever that country's top commodity is, for Ecuador, that would be bananas, okay? And roses, actually. More roses in the United States come imported to flower shops, I would know, from Ecuador. So Ecuador, roses and bananas are their 2 main top commodities. So that means they will be paid like it is their top commodity, like they are, those are two things that are huge. Those are like roses and bananas are the most popular, two of the most popular things on the planet. Are they getting paid what they're worth? No, they're not. So when you're talking reevaluation of currency, you're talking about a reevaluation also of commodities, and whether that is cotton or grain or seeds or olive oil or whatever it is. This reevaluation is not just about money. It's about metals backed currency, and it's about whatever each state and each country produces as a commodity and getting a fair and even exchange. Now, when I pulled for clarification from this oracle deck, for the Three of Pentacles, which is the manifestation of funds or things in 3D reality, in this case, the financial system, the quantum system is going to take cooperation with those people in the banks, right? It's not going to be cooperation from Tina, right? It's going to be within the bank. So if they are sitting around the table right now discussing that, okay, so you know these people are never going to give up the ghost. So how would you do it? Think like a criminal for a second. I'll tell you how you do it. You would hack into the system to the point where they had to shut it down. You would hack some of their customers so they had to sit at the table and listen to what you were saying. Okay? Because even though they have the technology, quantum technology to take over, you guys, even though free will has been exasperated, blown through and totally disregarded for thousands of years on this planet, you have to remember when it talks about setting things right for the financial system or adjudication or for any other things that we're cleaning up on this planet, the people setting things right have to do it the right way. So let's say there was a breach or a hack just big enough to get this corporation to the table to tell them, this is the way of the future. This is our Ace of Wands. This is the new direction that we're going in with quantum finances. There has to be cooperation though. And this is really interesting. The card that I get to clarify the Three of Pentacles is the Alien card. And I'm actually going to show you this because this is very interesting. No, I wasn't going to show you cards. So we have the World up here for the Alien. And then we have gold in balance with the World. So just that I was saying commodities, and see the two hearts, and I didn't even notice that until I got on here, until I was seconds from putting this card up for you guys to see. But wow, isn't that amazing? The world is connected. You see the gold and the stream of gold connected to the gold-backed currencies, gold-backed resources. Now, the interesting part about this is this card says, for Alien, it says, accept that you are unrepeatable, spectacular phenomena. But when I saw the Three of Pentacles, that's not how I read this card. I read, this is a note from one side to the other saying, this technology, this quantum technology, this is not Earth technology. I'm pretty sure you're aware of it, but I'm just going to throw it out there in case you didn't know. This new banking system is not Earth technology. It's quantum, right? It's alien. How appropriate. I've got alien and I've got money sitting in front of me, guys. This is huge. So the way I read this was, accept that our new quantum financial system is unrepeatable, spectacular phenomena. In other words, you can't stop us. You might as well join us. And I'm pretty sure that the hacking and the disruptions are going to continue until these roundtable discussions bring some sort of shift with what they are willing to do. And you guys know this is not happening at your local branch. We're talking about the absolute top of the food chain. So again, two really important things. Quantum financial system is not a system of this planet. No quantum system is of this planet. That's why when I want to tap into quantum Tina, when I want to remote view, when I need to access quantum healing, I have to go to quantum. It's not here on this planet. You have to access it. Meaning this banking technology, this quantum technology is not coming from here. Meaning it's unstoppable, but at the same time, again, you don't go into a system and just change over to the quantum system. There has to be compliance here from both sides. And this was talked about a little bit with that gray area that we're going through, right? Because there's many things on the table between the white hats and the black hats, or however you would like to call that. And it doesn't really matter in the long run. It's just now that we're starting to see it trickle into reality. Most of these things have already happened, and we don't even really need to pay attention to them. The reason I'm addressing it is because when people start listening to back channels or watching people do tarot about whatever's going on, they get confused. What I want you to know is these things are true. The thing we don't know is what is the space and time in which it's happening. Again, quantum financial system is quantum, so it's out of space and time as well. So a couple things you definitely want to keep into consideration. Right now, it's wonky. You just may not be able to use your card. You may not be able to bank online, whatever it is. But be smart about this, okay? So, and this has been repeated so many times, but have enough supplies in your house for 2 weeks. And when I say that's emergency supplies, but also emergency supplies to you, okay, would be anything you can't live without. Your emergency may be different than my emergency, right? But have 2 weeks of stuff in the house, and definitely make sure that you have, depending on your family size, have money somewhere on your person or in your house. And because I don't think it's something that's going to go down or be offline for a long time. But if that's the day you're going to the grocery store, or the day you have to pay a bill or something, and you cannot use your credit card or your debit card, that's going to be an issue for you. So think about that in advance. You may want to. You may not want to, because you may be like me and say, I'm not listening to this stuff anymore because it's been happening forever. But you guys, this has just been what happened to me with my bank and 2 other friends just in the last 7 days. Now, that's a lot of banking mishaps for 6 or 7 days. So have cash, have what you need. Try to stay sane. Try not to let anyone put their hands in your pants at the paint counter like that happened to me today. I don't know what's going on in the world, man. I'm telling you, I was definitely not expecting that today. But the message here is expect the unexpected, okay? Just be prepared and be really aware when you go out to stores or amongst other people, because like I said, my awareness is up. I've had some very intense, crazy things, people talking to me, putting their hands in my pants in the store in front of other people. Just, I mean, everything that's going on is a little bit strange and a little bit unexpected. All right. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm going to say, you guys. That's all I'm going to say. All right. Thank you, as always, for being here. I look forward to narrating whatever it is quantumly that's going on. And you know, I see quantumly, and I try to mix what I see quantumly in with things that happen in my daily reality. Not so that you guys can think I'm schizophrenic, but so that you guys can know I see quantum, I feel quantum, and then I share with you the way that's affecting people in my 3D reality around me. Talk to you soon. Bye.